You are traveling through another dimension. It is a dimension as vast as our poverty and as timeless as our greed. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between thought and superstition, and it lies at the pit of our fears for the 2021 season and the summit of our anger that the universe could treat us so cruelly and so miserably. It is an area we call Handkerchief Dynasty. I am, as always, your secret professor, joined by my good friend and former conjoined twin, the High Priest of Oilers Magic. Hello, High Priest. So, I mean, I'm kind of having that same out-of-body experience I had last year, but even like more so. I've traveled on the astral plane like an even further distance away from the here and now to spiritually and emotionally cope. What a disastrous playoffs.
Yeah, real bad. Historically bad. One of the worst Oiler playoffs ever.
I mean, I can take some modicum of comfort in the fact that it wasn't just a complete, like, because Chicago actually spanked us quite a bit more in some ways, like, because we weren't in as many of the Chicago games, whereas this one, we're in more of the games.
Game three is sets this series into a class of its own. The monumental collapse where we had it. That makes the Oilers, each one of these losses was a million times more heartbreaking than any of the Hawks losses, where you were just like, well, they didn't show up. I don't know what the problem is. The Oilers lost 4 games in very different ways that were the heartbreak level was turned up to 100% on all of them. Like it was like a master class in crushing your spirit. The Oilers just gave us.
It's almost like some kind of twisted like game, like an old boy-esque type psychological like assault over like well planned, just to completely do the exact thing to just rip your heart right out of your chest and completely crush your spirit for some unknown reason. Like why? Like I don't know why it's happening right now, other than the Winnipeg Jets want to win the Stanley Cup, and all power to them. I'm cheering for them now, quite frankly. It's the only thing that could make this even slightly okay, is if the Jets went on to win it all. I think that Brian Marchand put it pretty well today on Jason Gregor, where he said that, there's not a lot of teams that go deep in the playoffs where in the middle of a series, the coach takes a player from his first line and drops him down to the fourth line, switches up his other 3 lines and adds a new defensive pair. He's like, that's not a good sign when he does that. Although, to be honest, it did kind of help. It gave us life in the last 2 games a bit, but we just seemed like we're not as good as the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are just a better team.
I mean, I guess so. Ethan Bear had one of the worst series.
Does this cast a long shadow over the prospects of Ethan Bear?
And maybe not over the prospects, but over his. He was a very popular player. And I don't think he's going to be nearly as popular after this series.
No,
I
would not think so.
It was crazy. Those were egregious errors he was making multiple times. And I mentioned it he was doing it last game too. Like, you don't throw pucks. That's literally the first thing. Like, when you start playing hockey and you're going to play defense, it's like, who wants to play defense? Okay, you? Okay, don't throw pucks up the middle. And then it's like, it's repeated to you ad nauseum, moving forward from that point. So it was just like, it was so crazy that he kept doing it. And then he was benched, and then he was pretty much on the ice again for the goal.
He was benched for like 2 full periods.
Yeah, well, he deserved to be benched. He cost us, like.
What is going on, man? What the fuck is like? We are in like the twilight zone,
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's like par for the course with the Oilers, right? That's why, like I said, we didn't take naming this podcast lightly, and like it speaks a lot to what kind of franchise this is. Where out of all the names we considered, the one we went with was Handkerchief Dynasty. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of teams where such a phrase would apply.
Have you noticed how my mustache hair above my lip like hits the light in the weirdest way? Like if I do this, I have like a Hitler mustache. Maybe we could change the name of the podcast to Handkerchief Dynasty.
Yeah, you do look a lot like Hitler.
Well, I probably share a lot of traits. I've got one ball. I've got I'm deeply psychologically troubled.
Yeah.
I have a dream of making it as a painter that will never be realized.
Yeah.
And well, let's just leave it at that. So do you think there's something rotten in the state of Denmark a little bit, because the much was made of a certain someone's body language and maybe like a little bit of static? Like, to be honest, like, is it possible that the players, for whatever reason, just fucking hate playing under this coaching staff for some reason? Is that what's going on? Is that what's been going on this whole time?
Yeah, but like how many coach, like, we haven't had a good coach then since like Glenn Sather, since Ron Lowe.
We should just threaten to bring Hitchcock back. That'll set him straight.
I don't know.
We'll be like, we still have Kit Hitchcock under contract, guys.
I mean, they collapsed. The series should have been 2-1, right? Like, the story of the series is that game 3 collapse. That's the story of the series. Like, that game was locked up and we just threw in the towel on it for the last 8 minutes as though it was a regular season game. So when I try to figure out what happened here, it's those 8 minutes that I'm looking at with looking at the most, like, the closest, because I think that told the tale of the series. And why they stopped playing there, what happened there.
It was a pretty wild time, eh?
I mean, there's a lot of, like, there's so many questions that arise just from those 8 minutes. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think organizationally, you can't bring Dave Tippett back, whether or not he's a good coach. And I think he is a good coach, but like,
this is why it's a good thing Kenny Holland got a deal on him, because he didn't overpay for Dave Tippett. I think it was a 3-year deal at like $3 million or something.
And these games were close, but I mean, it didn't feel like he knew what he was doing. And game 3 happened, and like, now he's 1-7 in the playoffs.
2.75 to like $3 million a year. But I think he's probably got, like, next year is probably his last. So like, who the fuck are we going to get? Yeah, 3 years starting in 2019. So he's got one more year at 2.75. So I mean, it's no better than a coin flip that he's coming back.
Yeah.
Coin flip at best. And you're right, he is a good coach. He seems like a good guy too. So it sucks, but like, you can't have 2 consecutive playoff like exits of this fashion without the head coach kind of getting canned. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. But like, is there a good coach out there that we even want?
Well, I'm sure there's somebody. I mean, I think that there's probably a good coach out there that, like maybe Jay Woodcroft. Like, it feels like the Oilers have had like an old man coach for a really long time, and we have maybe we have 2 players that like that doesn't really work for them or something. I don't know, but we've had an old man coach for like forever. Maybe it's time to not have an old man coach.
It could be an idea.
It's worth a shot. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah, monumental. It's going to be a long, long off season, and these playoffs are going to be. It's 2 years in a row now that it's just going to be kind of really shitty to watch. I don't think the Oilers are even going to, when they do the playoff wrap up, CBC does that like montage, or Sportsnet, I guess now, when they play like some shit song, and then like, it's, I don't think
how bad is the CBC panel right now? Like,
I don't think
Christ almighty. It's like Cassie Campbell's giving me a real Hillary Rodham Clinton vibe right now. And Kevin Bieksa is just like some like thug that like walked into a bank wearing a suit, and he's like, his plan was to rob it, but instead they just like gave him a job, and now he's just like working there. Like, I don't know why anyone wants to listen to Kevin Bieksa give commentary. Like, he's Kevin Bieksa. Did we all forget who this guy was?
I suppose so.
I mean, like, granted, he's better than Ron McLean, but
No.
that's not setting the bar very high. And Kelly Rudy seems to me, he just sounds, I don't know if he is drunk, but he sounds drunk 100% of the time he's on air. I'm just going to say it. I don't know if he's drinking or not, but if you listen, there's some slurring. Not to slander the man. I am joking, of course. This is a satirical joke. By the way, let me plug. Do you like drama? Do you like satires? Do you like comedies? You can watch these and more on the Handkerchief Dynasty Gem app, coming very soon. We're going to be launching Handkerchief Dynasty Gem. We're planning on launching a full suite of shows, and our business plan is actually going to be based on no one ever watching them a single time. That's what we're setting our business model up around that. I think it's going to be fantastic. Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whose feet do you lay the blame here? Really, is it just lack of depth? Do we just not have enough good players?
Well, in tonight's game, I lay the blame specifically at the feet of Ethan Bear, who made one of the worst giveaways I've ever seen in a game, twice in a game that we had to win. So to me, it's Ethan Bear's fault entirely. I mean, think of how pissed Tippy must have been to have that guy on the bench for from the moment that happened through 2 periods of overtime. Just no, you're not playing. No. And the other guys are just totally gassed, 5 defensemen. And you're not, and he was right. Like I said, when I
he was.
After that happened, I was like, I don't want to see Ethan Bear. That was the worst giveaway of the entire season by far. I can't remember even seeing, and he did it twice. So yeah, tonight's game, I lay the blame entirely at the feet of Ethan Bear.
Ethan Bear should be our 6th or 7th defenseman, basically, if we're going to be a good team. He's still a young player. He can grow into more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up on him, but he's probably not. If we have players of this ilk in our top line, top 2 lines. We were running Ryan McLeod on the second line for a bulk of this series. We don't have enough fucking players. We thought we did.
Yeah,
but we don't.
Ethan Bear took a step backwards this season. I think
he took 2 steps back. Yeah.
Yeah. So, next year, Broberg will be in the lineup probably, right?
You mean Bouchard?
Broberg.
And Bouchard?
And Bouchard. And will Samorukov be in the lineup?
Samorukov, and then we'll bring in Benson, we'll bring in Raphael Lavoie, and we'll bring in Dylan Holloway. And then all those young guys are just going to come in and save the day, right? That's what's going to happen?
I don't know.
Sounds like a plan, Stan. It's worked for us every year before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what.
I don't know. The right combination of free agent signings for the forward core could make a huge difference. But it's a question of if Kenny's going to be able to pull that off. Because to be honest, he's made some good signings, but he also signed Kyle Turris, so it could be anyone's guess. Free agent signings are very willy-nilly. They're very finicky in terms of how they actually turn out. Yeah. It's like making a souffle, but you're trying to mix in a little bit of whole wheat flour for some insane reason, you know? You just, if I'd use a few more tablespoons of the whole wheat flour, mix in some ground flax seed.
Ugh, yeah. You can't mess around with the souffle. It's like science.
Yeah, I know. But it's like a mixture of science and art.
No? Disagree.
Pure science?
Yeah, pure science.
I'm surprised to hear this from such a religious man. It's normally you don't really have much compulsion for the secular side of life.
Let me tell you, I'm a little bit controversial that way.
So how fucking long we don't even really know when the new season's going to start now. I can't it's May, so June, July, August, September. We're probably looking at 4 full fucking months without any Oilers hockey now.
Yeah,
is that for real? That. This shit is going to take multiple days to set in, but I'm also, I'm gonna also just try and walk it off a little bit. I'm gonna try the walk off maneuver.
One of the things I was telling the mini priest before the game tonight is, we sat down and then I was like, no matter what happens tonight, it won't be as bad as last night. And he was like, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Smart boy.
Yeah. So I think the horror of game 3 definitely softened the blow.
Oh my God. This is what it's come to. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're 100% right. No, because today it was like, there was like a weird dread leading up to the game where part of me was just like, yeah, I want them to go on 4 straight and like make all my dreams come true. But at the same time, I knew if they lost tonight, at the very least, the pain would be over at least somehow. I wouldn't have to wait. I wouldn't have to live through another fucking dreadful game day, just like, splashing water on my face and like trying to like, ground myself using various meditation techniques and incense dispensaries.
Yeah. I mean, the pain last night was like, that was peak. You can't hurt any more than that. Or I guess 2 nights ago now. But yeah.
No, it's last night.
Well, it's past for you. Midnight here now.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, the special advisory to the listeners. I'm going to post the last 2 episodes in reverse order. So we're going to get the fresh take tonight, and then I'm going to add the episode after the defeating 4-1 loss, just so that way people can get more depressed. You know what I mean?
It makes absolutely no sense, but sure.
I don't know. We were pretty raw on mic that night. I kind of like in a way think I should like not release it because it's so intimate. It's like how many times do you have to like perform in front of someone when like you've just had a huge like gut punch?
That's what I told you. I was like, not tonight, man. And then I felt like we sort of owe it
exactly
to our 9 listeners.
Well, the flock are leading the shepherds now, so to speak.
So maybe you should just post it.
Yeah, I'll just post it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that our 9 listeners will not listen to it either way.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you imagine like because they haven't heard them, like most of the listeners haven't listened to our post game for the last game. Why would you listen to it now? Now that you know the series is over, why would you listen? Would you just listen if you're a sadist to like hear us depressed?
No, you wouldn't listen for any reason. It's very narcissistic of us to think that anyone would listen to our podcast episode from game 3.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
No, it's true. Maybe we should like do like a pivot. Maybe we should be like how like former Catholics are like the number 2 religious groups, number 2 religious denomination in America. Maybe we could start a podcast for like former Edmonton Oilers fans, and we're like lapsed, so we can like jump on the bandwagon like total fucking assholes every year in the playoffs. We could become like Canucks fans.
Yeah, no, see, it doesn't work like that. Like I've tried to do that in the past, for a lot of years. And then kind of over the past like 5 years, 5-6 years, I realized that like you can't even entertain that idea. Like entertaining that idea is foolish. There's no way out of here. The only way out of here is through death. Right?
Wow.
It's true though.
Yeah.
Like you can't go halfway with the Edmonton Oilers. If you're already hooked, you can't walk away from it. You just can't. And
it's like an end of Brokeback Mountain. I wish I knew how to quit you type thing.
Yeah, sort of. Except I'm glad that I don't know how to quit them, because I mean, it's good to have the Oilers are, if it's kind of like a pet, right? It's just this thing you can sort of love unconditionally. With the thing about the Oilers is they give you no love in return, but you're able to just pour your love into the Edmonton Oilers. And I think that's valuable. That's a good thing.
That's so dystopic.
That they can't love you back.
We're pouring our love into like what amounts to like a multi-million-dollar like corporation.
Yeah, I suppose, but I mean anything that you can.
I guess it's people that are really into Apple. I'd rather we be Oilers fans. We could change the podcast into like an Apple podcast.
No, I mean I think like anything that you
we'll do like iPhone unboxings and stuff.
Anything you just love like that is like that's good.
No, the Apple fans that go to take it too far are weird, man.
Yeah, but like they love Apple. Like God bless them, like they love it.
I mean, it's okay to like Apple. It's okay to love Apple. But when the love takes a form of fanaticism, and you're opening religious schools across the world to indoctrinate people into the Apple religion, then it goes too far, I think.
Is that what they're doing? That's what that guy from the Apple computers is doing now?
Do you know there's this lawsuit?
Justin Long? That's
Justin
what he does
Long.
now?
You know, there was this lawsuit, Epic versus Apple, and Tim Cook, the president of Apple, had to take the stand, and they asked him if the Apple App Store made a profit, and he said he didn't know.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't sure if it did, and it's like, okay, so you're like one of the biggest companies in the world, and you're charging 30% commission on everything on this giant app store, like the world over.
Yeah.
And the most they could get him to admit to was he said he had a feeling it was profitable, a feeling, which I found pretty hilarious.
Maybe he hasn't checked his papers. Do you ever read your papers?
If you were CEO, would you read the papers?
Oh, if I was CEO, that's when I would never ever pick up a paper again. That'd be it. Done with papers.
You'd just be on the yacht 24/7.
I'd use the papers to pee.
Raising the roof.
I'd use the papers to pee on.
Right. Yeah. That brings back memories of our last business collaboration in the early noughties. That was a tough one. Remember the banana bikini stand?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, did not go well. Do you think Connor McDavid hates fucking playing on this team right now?
He looked pretty unhappy at times tonight.
He did. And that's grist to the mill for like a whole swath of hockey fandom. I mean,
oh my gosh.
I think it comes down to it. You know, Kenny Holland calls him up in a week and he's just like, look, if you want me to get rid of Tippett, I'll get rid of Tippett. It's up to you. Because it's like Kenny Holland has to do whatever the fuck Connor McDavid says, quite frankly. Yes. They should make fucking Connor McDavid GM. Like, honestly, like, why the fuck not? You can have player coaches. Why don't have player GMs?
Like Connie gets the guys he wants to play with? Totally.
Yeah. And he's like, you know what? He's like, the guys he doesn't want to play with, they're just gonzo. You know, he'd probably be like the most brutal GM of all time, just like super like the Michael Jordan of GMs.
He'd be like the Caligula of GMs. He'd have like his horse playing on the wing.
No. The Caligula of GMs would be if like Devon Shore became the GM. He would be the Caligula of GMs. Oh,
Devon Shore was so close tonight, huh? So close to ending.
What do you think of Shoresy and Hasser?
I thought they played. I love those guys. I really like Devon Shore, and I like Gaetan Haas too.
You know, we got to get to the point though where they just become Shore and Haas. We don't have to use their first name because, like, you know, the commentator is always like, and it goes to Haas, Gaetan Haas, because no one knows who the fuck Haas is. You know, we have to get to a point where they're playing well enough, they've established themselves in the league enough that it's just the puck goes to Haas right on the wall. You know,
yeah,
he's got to stop. He's got to stop being Gaetan Haas, and he's got to just become Haas.
Yeah,
then we'll know he's made it. But honestly, I think they really need to sign like a big fucking third line center and then like another winger to play in the top six if they can.
Yeah, man.
And no more of these kids. Like, the kids are not going to come in and solve the problems. We have too many fucking kids on the team, man. There's too many kids. Just too many kids. It's like some sort of like crazy religious family that just has like fucking 25 and a half kids, you know, plus like 12 foster children, plus they're building an orphanage in like Libya that they're like go to like 3 times a year, you know? Like creepy levels of kids where you're just like, what is with your obsession with kids? You know,
that the Oilers got into that. I mean, whatever that lane is that you're just like
kids.
Yeah. Constantly trying to get like younger, like youth equals
we've slowed it down, but the years of doing it has built up a huge amount of youth on the roster that's just like there.
Inexperienced youth, right? Like the years of doing it have built nothing but inexperience.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy.
Is there a blockbuster trade that this team can make, do you think, to like right the ship in some way, shape, or form? Like, who are we trading in a blockbuster to like get? Who are we getting back to like really like give us like the gumption to succeed? That's my question to you, High Priest of Oilers Magic.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ethan Bear and somebody. I mean,
yeah. We take Ethan Bear plus like another top prospect plus a pick.
I'm just thinking we have quite a few guys like on defense right now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like quite a few prospects and guys. I don't know if we really have anything up front that we could leverage as like real bait?
I'd be fine with trading Jesse Puljujarvi right now because the teams would be pretty high on him, to be honest. And I'm not convinced he's going to gel on this roster long term. You know, I think hockey sense might continue to be an issue with him. I mean, let's be honest.
Connie was
I'm also exactly. I'm saying I have a feeling if Connor McDavid was the GM of this team, Puljujarvi would at least not be on his line. I think Connie wants someone other than Puljujarvi. That's my strong sense. Nothing against the young man, but in a weird way, like I almost think he can't even play on like the second line though. Almost like I don't even know if we're going to get that much out of him on another line other than Connie's. You know,
I don't know. I thought he had a pretty good playoffs. Really, like
I feel like he's Cassian 2.0. That's my feeling with Jesse Puljujarvi right now.
No way.
No, because like what did everyone say about Cassian early in his career? But he's got tons of skill and he's big and he's got size and speed. He's got it all. And then, like, did he ever really put it together?
I mean, the other thing is, in all of this, is there's going to be fans in the building next year, right? Which is like, come playoff time anyway, I think is huge, presumably. So, yeah, I don't know. There's that. Let me tell you, man, in Edmonton, this playoffs has been dead quiet. Like there's been nothing really in front of Rogers Place that I know of, like no sort of like socially distanced rallies. There's just been like fucking nothing. Like there's really not a lot of buzz, and there wasn't about the playoffs this year. Like people
have other stuff on their mind, to be honest, possibly as well.
But I'm saying even compared to like Winnipeg or Montreal or Toronto, like other markets that are in the playoffs, like to me, Edmonton seems like the quietest of the bunch.
That's kind of true in a weird way. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because being able to go to these games, we put a lot of value on like that aspect of the playoff experience, like how loud the building is, the atmosphere of the building. So if that's not happening, it almost feels like it sucks like everything. It takes the wind out of the entire experience for the whole city. I'm not saying like that obviously didn't really, or it's not really anything, it's just an observation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a factor. I think it's really the roster that's the problem here.
Well, yes, of course.
Possibly the coaching staff and the players being disconnected a little bit. I don't know. I don't think. I mean, I think you might be right. I think you might be right about needing one of the new school coaches. You know,
yeah, why not?
Because a lot of teams actually have done that, and it's worked out for them around the league. You know, that's definitely like a thing. And the Oilers have not had a young coach since like I don't know, Todd Nelson. Who got like 10 games.
Yeah, we had that other guy too, a long time ago. His name was like George something.
I mean, Dallas Eakins was a young coach, but obviously that was a disaster.
Oh yeah, Dallas Eakins was like a young coach with like some sort of old coach mentality, though. You know what I mean?
No, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, he was like an old coach who had was dyed in the wool in like the old ways.
Yes.
Yeah, weird vibe too. Because like those guys are like even less likely to get people to listen to them than the old guys. It's like the young guy coming to town with the old guy vibe. Like, yeah, that's a tough sell, bro. That's a tough sell.
Yeah,
we're just really like, how old are you? You're like talking like my dad.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. You really have to. I mean, if that's your vibe, it's like you have to win every single game. Or all of it gets questioned immediately and you get like turfed for those reasons. What are you doing? Take off your fedora.
I cannot fucking believe we lost 4 games straight to the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe we lost.
It's redonkulous.
I can't believe we lost game 3. I can believe we lost the rest of the games, but I can't believe we lost game 3. I can't believe that this wasn't a game, where the series was 2-1 for Winnipeg. And if they won tonight, it's 3-1 and coming back to Edmonton. Like, I'm still not over game 3. So I think that's making the fact that we got bounced out of the playoffs entirely a little easier for me to take, just because I've never seen the Oilers collapse like that. Like, it was so crazy that happened. So
it's like it's a type of surreal. Definitely a type of surreal.
Pretty miserable playoff experience. I feel bad for the mini priest and his sister, because that's a rude awakening to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. That's going to be hopefully a non-formative experience, but let's be honest, probably something they're going to be talking about in a psychiatrist's office in like 15 years.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll look at us.
Like, and then Ethan Bear gave up the puck and it was like, why did you do that?
Look at us, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how.
Well, to be honest, most of our issues come from repressed homosexual urges and being psychosexually stunted in general.
Yeah, but I'm fairly confident I can even trace those things back to the Decade of Darkness.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, you know, I'm glad that you're talking about it finally. I think it's really important that we create an atmosphere of trust here in the Handkerchief Dynasty Tower of Pain. We will be spending the rest of the offseason in the Tower of Pain. Please send us a message at Handkerchief DY1. The High Priest is at High Priest Oil. I think you need to sleep, my friend. I think we need to think of other things, begin to process the responsibility that we share to carry on and rebuild. And I don't really have anything else to say to everyone other than take care. Start working on your summer projects. We'll be continuing to release content for y'all all summer. Don't worry. We're not going anywhere. I think we'll actually have a certain someone, I don't want to say his name, starts with Zach, might come on tomorrow to help fucking debrief this shit. It'll kind of be like debriefing the Bay of Pigs, though. I have a feeling it's going to have about the same tone and vibe as when Kennedy was debriefed on how the Bay of Pigs invasion went. It's like, well, you know, we drew it up, you know, we had kind of a small fourth line, but they're skilled and they have speed. So we threw them up on the beach and, you know, they ended up taking a lot of heavy fire from the Cubans. We just didn't see it coming, man. It was weird. We're like, where do these guys learn to shoot like this, dude? It's like, get out of the Oval Office.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it was a great regular season, wasn't it? How about Connie's incredible regular season that we'll never witness anything like ever again?
I mean, it's going to be compared to that 100-point season Crosby had or whatever when that one time or whatever, right? It's like, but like we've had him for 4 years now, man. So
yeah,
there's it 5 now.
Yeah, it's 5 years. Yeah,
dude, like they should just make him GM because like it's the only way he's gonna fucking stay on much longer to like oversee this shit. Like we need some skill and we need some fucking money on those wings, baby.
We need a lot of things.
We've been trying to fly a plane just with like the center fuselage and no wings, and that's against the laws of aviation as well as the laws of success in the NHL.
I still don't think the Oilers really know who they are yet either. Like there's just the same. It feels like it's been the same problems for like 10 years, honestly. Like you know what I mean? Other teams just seem to be able to, whenever they want to, just beat the shit out of us.
Honestly, let's start doing testing of the locker room, see if there's some kind of microbial infestation. And honestly, I'd love to get a blood test going, see if those vitamin D levels are low, because there's something going on. Something in the water, man.
Yeah, something in the water, right?
It's so fucked up, man. Well, at the same time, it cheers me up to talk to you about it. I'm a little too tired probably to actually post last episode, so I'll post this tonight and then we'll move on with our lives. Yeah,
that sounds good.
And everyone, thanks for listening. We love you. Please join us for more fun and more depression at patreon.com/Handkerchief Dynasty. Now offering 12% more depression, as well as the universe shits you out of its ass. You are now 20% chunkier. Okay, yeah. We're offering 20% chunkier chunks in the shit.
Can you imagine, like you know, who's gonna want to listen to like the Oilers podcast? You know what I mean?
No, it helps people pass time in the off season. I think quite a bit. That's what I hear. Because there's not a lot of content, man. You know?
No. Amen. There's not a lot of content.
So to just like hear us talking about our masturbatory fantasies actually is helpful to people. So I think we should take that responsibility seriously.
You're right.
So write down remember to write down all your filthy, disgusting thoughts for later on this summer as we go through the catalog of diversions and perversions. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we'll be thinking about the Oilers obviously nonstop still.
I want Zach Cassian off this team.
Yeah,
I think it's get it over with. Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay.
This can be our first off-season episode, the Cassian report, where we'll just like do a deep dive into.
No, it'll be the Cassian report, but it'll be like he'll have gone missing, and there'll be like a full APB / like province-wide manhunt out on him or whatever. You know what I mean? You know. On May 28th, Zach Cassian didn't report for garbage bag day. That is, and the media learned that he had fled into the environs of Edmonton. Destination unknown, purpose unknown.
I don't know.
He could actually have a lucrative career doing like reenactments for like police, like real crime kind of like documentaries, like Forensic Files.
He would be. Yeah, he could have a lucrative career, I bet, as a character actor, where like people would be like,
he'd be like on Sons of Anarchy or something.
Yeah, like anything that calls for that sort of guy, you'd notice
a Breaking Bad type, Better Call Saul.
You'd notice him in everything he was in.
Yeah,
you'd be like, "There's that guy, that fucking crazy guy." And then one day he'd have his own. Like a vehicle just for him, right? It would be like starring Zach Cassian, and we'd be like, he'd be kind of like a Vinnie Jones type of character, you know what I mean? Remember Vinnie Jones? I can see the same sort of career arc for Zach Cassian.
All right, well, I mean, from your lips to the ears of God herself, I'm going to be looking at the buyout calculator pretty soon too. I got to be honest, but to be honest, it would be nice if maybe we just bury them in the minors instead of. Oh, have I lost you?